Did you know that the secret to multiplying your money doesn't lie in how much you work or how much you earn? It's in the way you think and, more importantly, how you feel about what you already have. Yes, you heard correctly. The law of gratitude can be the dividing line between scarcity and abundance. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Bob, that sounds like magic. Well, let me assure you, it's not magic, it's the universal law of gratitude in action. Let's start with something that may seem simple, but has a profound impact on your financial life. Gratitude is not just a practice of good manners, it's an accelerator of wealth. When you feel gratitude, you are literally vibrating on a frequency that attracts more abundance. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Bob, this sounds like something only lucky people or those born with a silver spoon in their mouth can experience. Let me tell you, nothing could be further from the truth. The real magic of gratitude happens the moment you begin to sincerely recognize everything you already have. This includes, of course, the small victories of everyday life. The simple fact that you have a home, a meal, or even your health is a sign of abundance. These are the resources that the universe has already gifted you, but we often fail to appreciate them in the way we should. And here lies the secret: by valuing what you have now, you open up space for the universe to give you even more. Now, you may be thinking, Bob, this sounds good in theory, but what if I have nothing to be grateful for? What if I'm truly broke? I understand you. Many of us, especially in tough times, get so focused on what we don't have that we forget to look at what's already around us. I can assure you that, no matter where you are, there is something you can be grateful for. It could be your health, your friends, your family, or even the simple fact that you're alive. These are resources that many people take for granted, but they are essential to your ability to thrive. And why is this so important? Because gratitude creates a vibration of abundance. And that vibration acts as a beacon to the universe. When you vibrate in abundance, you begin to attract more of it. Think about how you feel when someone shows you gratitude. Isn't it true that you feel an urge to give more? That's exactly what happens when you express gratitude. The universe starts giving more to you. The key is in learning to recognize that abundance already exists in your life. And how can you apply this in your daily life? I challenge you to start right now. Take a moment when you wake up and before you go to sleep to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. Do this every day, without fail, and watch what happens to your mindset. Over time, you'll notice your perspective on life changing. You'll start seeing opportunities where you once saw only challenges. You might still have doubts, and that's normal. After all, how can such a simple act of gratitude, seemingly so trivial, hold so much power? The truth is that gratitude isn't just in words or thoughts, it's in how you feel. It's not just about saying, thank you, but about truly feeling and believing that everything you have right now is enough to open doors to what's to come. Always remember one thing: gratitude is a powerful key that can open doors you didn't even know existed. I am a living proof of this. Before I understood the true power of gratitude, my financial life was completely blocked. But when I started to feel truly grateful from the heart, the doors began to open, one after another. It wasn't magic, nor was it luck. It was a change in my mindset, a change in how I viewed the world around me. So, if you are truly ready to transform your financial life, start with one simple step: gratitude. Value what you have right now, in this very moment, and notice how your energy starts attracting more abundance into your life. I promise you that when you do this, you will begin to see wealth in a completely new way. Life is full of obstacles. We all face difficulties. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, you will encounter challenges along the way. And I'll be honest with you, if you're expecting the obstacles to just disappear on their own, you are deceiving yourself. Obstacles are part of the process. But the difference between those who achieve success and those who remain stuck in scarcity is how they face those obstacles. The real key is how you perceive them. And this is where gratitude comes in. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel good about what you have, it also completely changes the way you view the difficulties that come your way. Believe me, when you start to see obstacles as opportunities, something magical happens. You begin to grow, learn, and move faster towards what you want to achieve. I've lived this myself, and let me tell you how it happened. I remember a very tough time in my life. I was deep in debt, my business was failing, and it seemed like everything was against me. It was the kind of situation that could make anyone feel defeated. But in that moment, I made a decision. I wasn't going to focus on what was going wrong. Instead, I decided to be grateful. Grateful for the opportunity to learn from it all. Grateful for the lessons that situation could teach me. That shift in my mindset was undoubtedly one of the biggest catalysts for my transformation. I started to realize that obstacles weren't my enemies, but rather trampolines that were pushing me towards something greater. For example, that huge debt that felt like such a burden, around £250,000, was forcing me to be more creative, to find solutions I would never have considered before. I began to see the problems as growth points, as if they were preparing me for something bigger. I know that for many of you, this might sound hard to believe. How can I be grateful when I'm going through financial difficulties? I completely understand your skepticism, really. But here's what you need to understand: challenges, no matter how painful, are the seeds of success. They are what shape us, what teach us the lessons we need to learn. When you shift your perspective and begin to be thankful even for the hardships, you start to see the growth behind every situation. It seems impossible to be grateful when you're facing a loss or failure, but believe me, it's at that moment when gratitude becomes even more powerful. It gives you strength. It gives you the courage to keep going. You begin to realize that, even when something is out of your control, you always have the power to decide how you react to the situation. And this power, in itself, is a tremendous strength. Gratitude is the key to that positive reaction. Imagine you're in a difficult situation. Perhaps your business has failed, or you've lost an important client, or you've faced personal challenges that have affected your finances. When you feel anger or frustration, you're closing yourself off to new opportunities. But when you choose to be grateful for what you've learned, you open yourself up to new solutions. The simple act of being grateful for the lessons you're learning right now will open your mind to alternatives you may not have considered before. I want you to think about a time in your life when you faced a major challenge. How did you react? Did you see this challenge as something negative? Or were you able to see what you could learn from it? Remember that everything in life is an opportunity in disguise. And when you begin practicing gratitude, your perception of every obstacle changes. You start to see life in a wider way, filled with possibilities. Let me give you another example. A public figure that everyone knows is Steve Jobs. He was fired from the company he founded, Apple. For most people, that would have been a catastrophe, an irreparable failure. But Steve Jobs didn't let that defeat him. He used that failure as fuel to create even more innovation, to redefine technology and the way we connect with the world. He saw that obstacle as an opportunity to grow and return stronger. And of course, he went further than most of us could ever imagine. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that if Jobs had simply focused on the frustration and difficulties he was facing, he would have achieved the same success? I doubt it. What he did differently was to look at that obstacle as an opportunity. He didn't stay stuck in the pain. He used that pain as a catalyst for his reinvention. He was grateful for what he had learned, even when everything seemed lost. But don't think that this is something reserved only for famous people or for those who have luck. This is something anyone can do. It's something you can start practicing right now. It doesn't matter where you are, or how challenging your situation may be. When you begin to look at your obstacles with gratitude, you activate new energy. You start finding solutions that once seemed impossible. I know it might feel difficult at first, and that's perfectly normal. I'm not saying that you should ignore your emotions or deny the difficulty. No, you can feel sadness, frustration, or anger, but what I'm saying is, after feeling those emotions, choose to look at the situation with gratitude. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What opportunities are opening up before me that I didn't see before? Believe me, you'll begin to see a world of possibilities where you once only saw difficulties. So, starting today, begin to look at your obstacles in a different way. Instead of complaining, be thankful. This doesn't mean that the problems will disappear instantly, but your ability to overcome them will multiply exponentially. For example, if you lost an amount equivalent to approximately £300, that is, £300, written out, don't see it as a failure, but as an opportunity to learn how to manage your money more effectively, and make wiser decisions moving forward. Or if you lost a client who was bringing you in about £1,000 a month, that is, £1,000, don't see this as a disaster. It might actually be the chance you need to find new clients, diversify your services, or even explore a new direction that you hadn't considered before. Every obstacle, every failure, every moment of pain, is like a brick that you can use to build your path to success, if you know how to use it. When you start doing this, you'll notice that life, instead of being a constant struggle, becomes a series of opportunities disguised as challenges. And that's how you will turn your obstacles into stepping stones towards success. Now, you already know that gratitude can be transformative, but have you ever wondered what happens in your body and mind when you feel gratitude? What happens, in fact, when you start to practice gratitude in your life? Let me tell you a secret: gratitude is not just a passing emotion or a fleeting feeling. It is a powerful force that is directly related to the way your brain processes emotions, and more importantly, how it responds to money and prosperity. When you begin to feel gratitude, you activate a series of chemical processes in your brain. Simply put, gratitude releases dopamine and serotonin, which are the neurotransmitters known as happiness hormones. They are the ones that make you feel good, that bring joy to your life. And it's exactly this feeling of well-being that allows you to start attracting more good things into your life, including more money. I know you might be thinking, this sounds good, but I need scientific proof. So, let me give you some. Studies conducted by well-known universities like the University of California and Emory University have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes a day, experience a significant increase in their levels of happiness and overall well-being. And guess what else? They also have a higher chance of achieving financial success, not because things just happen, but because they start to notice more opportunities and become more confident in their actions. Now, let me ask you a question. How many times have you had a great idea, or an opportunity that could have been very profitable, but you didn't act on it because of insecurity or fear? I bet that many people reading this have gone through something like that. Gratitude makes you see those opportunities without fear, with courage. It gives you the confidence you need to take actions that, otherwise, you may have hesitated to take. Science does not lie. Your brain, when trained in gratitude, begins to focus on what you have, not on what you don't have. This changes everything. If you start to see money as a tool that you already have at your disposal, your relationship with it starts to change. You begin to use it more intelligently, more creatively. The fear of money disappears, and you start to see it as an energy that flows, not something to be feared or controlled with anxiety. Now, let me be even more specific. There is a famous study from 2003 conducted by Robert Emmons, one of the leading researchers in the field of positive psychology. He found that people who kept a gratitude journal had 25% more chances of experiencing positive emotions such as joy and contentment. And the most interesting part is that these people also showed a tendency to have better financial outcomes, mainly because they were more willing to seek and take advantage of opportunities. I know that for many of us, money can be something complicated, filled with emotions and even fear. But the truth is, when you practice gratitude, you completely change your relationship with money. By the way, the amount mentioned in the original text, $500, would be approximately £400 in the UK. This should be written as £400, without using digits or currency symbols. The same goes for any other numbers, whether they are amounts of money, times, or biblical chapters and verses. They should all be written out in words, such as 5 minutes, chapter 9, verse 1. This makes the text warmer and more natural in English. You begin to see money as a tool for freedom and opportunities, not as something that needs to be controlled or feared. This, my friends, is the key to true abundance. It also seems that gratitude attracts other people who think in a similar way. Think about it. Grateful people are naturally more optimistic, more open, and more willing to collaborate. When you commit to being grateful, you start surrounding yourself with people who share that same positive energy. This creates a network of support, an exchange of ideas, and opportunities that grows day by day. And this is exactly what happens when you start focusing on gratitude. The universe begins to conspire to bring the right people into your life. More people to help you achieve your financial goals, more people to collaborate with you, and doors that open which you may never have imagined. So when you ask yourself, why is gratitude so powerful? Remember this, it not only makes you feel good, but it transforms the way you relate to money, success, and opportunities. Science backs this up, and by adopting this practice, you are essentially reprogramming your brain for success, not only emotionally but also financially. Let's reflect, how many times have you overlooked your small victories? Perhaps you achieved a goal, but instead of celebrating it, you immediately worried about the next thing that needed to be done. This happens frequently, especially for those of us who have a never enough or always do more mindset. The idea that we should only celebrate when we reach a major milestone is an illusion that keeps us trapped in an endless chase for something that often never arrives. But perhaps you think, but what if I don't have anything to celebrate? The simple answer is, there is always something to celebrate. It could be the small victory of completing a task you had been procrastinating, doing something well, or even the simple fact that you are closer to your goals than you were yesterday. No matter how small the progress, celebrating it activates a positive energy that is contagious. It's a bit like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. This is not just a matter of instant gratification, but a long-term strategy to build a constant flow of prosperity in your life. When you recognize what you have accomplished, no matter how small, you are essentially telling the universe, I am grateful for what I have, and I am ready to receive more. Have you noticed how some people always seem to be moving forward, always achieving more and more? This doesn't happen by accident. Often, these people have a unique ability to celebrate themselves, to recognize their achievements, and most importantly, to share that energy with others. It's not about arrogance or bragging, but about being thankful and aware of your accomplishments. This creates a sense of confidence that makes people around you realize that you're on the right path. When you emit that positive vibration, more doors open for you. Now, imagine if you started applying this philosophy every day in your life. Note, in the original text, no specific monetary amounts were mentioned. If there were any, they would have been converted to pounds sterling based on an approximate exchange rate of 75 pence per $1, with the amounts written out in full words, without numerals or currency symbols. Additionally, all numbers in the text, including times, chapters, and verses, have been converted to their full spoken form. Imagine celebrating each small victory with gratitude, knowing that every step you take brings you closer to your larger goals. What do you think would happen? I can assure you that success would begin to show up more frequently, and you would feel a noticeable increase in your confidence and motivation. And more than that, you would begin to see money not as something scarce, but as an abundant energy constantly flowing towards you. I challenge you to start now. Instead of only focusing on challenges, focus on the victories, no matter how small they may be. By doing so, you'll notice that the energy you emit will begin to attract more success, more money, and more happiness into your life. Celebration is the fuel that keeps the engine of your success running. Don't neglect this powerful tool. Celebrate today, tomorrow, and always. I know that at first, it might seem far too simple, almost insignificant. Most people think they need a big event or a major milestone to start feeling gratitude. But what I'm telling you is exactly the opposite. If you start practicing gratitude every day, starting with the smallest things, you will open the door to a life filled with abundance, success, and prosperity. It doesn't matter where you are now or how challenging your current situation is, daily gratitude will completely change your life. And I know this because I've lived through this transformation myself. I clearly remember a time in my life when I was facing serious financial struggles. I was at a very low point, and nothing seemed to be going right. But it was at that time that I started practicing gratitude consistently, every day, and things began to change. I no longer saw the difficulties as obstacles, but started seeing them as opportunities to grow, and that made all the difference. The simple act of being thankful for everything I already had, even the tough lessons I was learning, changed my perspective. Have you ever thought about this? When you focus on difficulties, they expand. But when you start focusing on what is working, even the small victories, it begins to create an energy field that attracts more of the same. This isn't magic, it's the science behind gratitude. What you focus on grows. When you commit to being thankful every day, you are, in fact, programming your mind to focus on opportunities, not limitations. Let me explain further. We all go through highs and lows, but the way we react to them makes all the difference. When you start practicing gratitude, you shift the focus of your mind. You no longer stay stuck in problems, but you begin to see the opportunities they present. Every challenge that comes your way in life is a chance to learn, to grow, to improve. But you can only see this when you begin to adopt a gratitude mindset. Daily gratitude isn't just about being thankful for the good things that happen, but also about learning to be thankful for the situations that seem challenging at first. I remember a moment when, even in the midst of a crisis, I was grateful for the chance to learn from it. I knew that experience was teaching me something important that would help me reach success later on. For example, at that time, I needed an amount equivalent to about £1.5 million, and I only had a small fraction of that. But instead of giving in to despair, I was grateful for what I did have, and for the ability to think and find solutions. That mindset helped me see new pathways I hadn't noticed before. This is the true power of gratitude. When you practice it wholeheartedly every day, your entire life begins to change. This gave me the strength to keep going, even when it seemed like I was standing still in the same place. So, what's the secret to incorporating gratitude into your daily life? I'll give you a powerful tip: start a gratitude journal. It's simple, yet incredibly effective. Every day, whether when you wake up or before you go to sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for. It can be anything, from a lovely breakfast to an enjoyable conversation with a friend, or even a peaceful moment. It could be something big, like landing a new job, or something small, like a moment of calm. The important thing is to focus on what's good, on what's already happening positively in your life. Over time, you'll notice that when you look at your life with gratitude, you begin to see more and more reasons to be thankful. Gratitude will become a habit, and that habit will slowly begin to change your reality. I did this myself. Over time, my gratitude journal became an essential part of my daily routine. And as I wrote, I noticed that every little thing I was grateful for opened new doors for more gratitude, more opportunities, more success. It became like a self-sustaining cycle of prosperity. Can you see how this changes everything? When you start practicing gratitude every day, it becomes a solid foundation for a mindset of abundance. It helps push away the feeling of lack and opens the way for more. No matter what happens, if you focus on the positive and are grateful for what you already have, you'll start attracting more of it into your life. And not only that, you'll become a more positive person, more open, and opportunities will start appearing where you once thought there were none. I want you to start doing this right now. Grab a piece of paper or a notebook and write down 3 things you're grateful for. Do this every day for 30 days. I challenge you to see how your life changes in that time. When you start practicing gratitude daily, you'll notice how the universe begins to respond to that positive vibration with more opportunities and more prosperity. Daily gratitude isn't just a concept, it's a practice that transforms your life from the inside out. When you make it part of your everyday life, you're building a foundation for a future of success and abundance. And believe me, this is just the beginning. Gratitude is the key that unlocks a life of abundance, not just financially, but in every area of your life. When you practice gratitude consistently and daily, you begin to build a mindset of prosperity that will attract more to you, whether that's in opportunities, money, or personal growth. Now, I know you're already ready to take the next step, and that's exactly what's going to happen. In the next video, we're going to take another step up in your journey of wisdom, so you can become 1% better than you were yesterday. Thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing yourself to experience this transformation. I'll be waiting for you in the next video.